Am I the asshole for firing an employee after his parents died? I'll admit, I'm not used to second-guessing my decisions. I'm the vice president of sales at a large software development company. It's a high-pressure job, and we pride ourselves on results. That's just the nature of the business. A few months ago, one of my best young sales reps, let's call him Alex, lost both of his parents in a car accident. They were hit by a drunk driver on their way home from a weekend trip. It was tragic. Alex is only 22 and had been working for us for about 10 months at the time. He was one of our top performers, and I had already started discussing his name in promotion conversations. After the accident, we told Alex to take as much time as he needed. We granted him a full month of paid leave, no questions asked. When he returned, though, everything changed. He stopped making cold calls. He wasn't following up with clients. He missed internal meetings. And when he did show up, he barely participated. At first, I gave him some slack. I checked in with him personally, asked if he needed more time or if there was anything we could do. He always said no, that he was ready to work. But the numbers told a different story. After 3 weeks, our entire management team noticed the decline. In sales, especially in a high-level position earning over $90,000 a year plus commission, consistent performance is expected. Eventually, after much discussion, we made the call to let him go. I broke the news to him myself, and he reacted calmly, though he told us to, quote, go to hell, took his things and left. At first, I felt confident in the decision. But when I told my boyfriend about it that evening, he was horrified. He said that I and the management team were heartless, that we should have supported Alex more instead of throwing him out when he was down. That stung. The real twist came later that week. During a board meeting, our HR director mentioned that prior to the accident, Alex had been on a shortlist for early promotion. The board had already approved additional training for him and even earmarked funds for his salary increase. I hadn't known that at the time. Now, some board members are asking for a full review of our department's handling of the situation. The company prides itself on supporting its employees through hardship, and they're questioning whether my decision aligned with that value. I've been leading this department for 5 years. I've had to make countless tough calls. But this one is haunting me. I'm starting to wonder, did I act too fast? Should I have fought harder to give him more time? I don't know anymore. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for hating my brain-damaged sister? I can barely believe I'm writing this. Honestly, part of me hopes no one I know will ever connect this story back to me. I am 33 years old. I used to have a promising career in marketing. I lived in a city I loved, surrounded by friends, building a life I had worked hard for. Then, about a year ago, everything changed. My older sister, who is 27, was always the wild one in the family. The kind of person who never grew out of her party phase. No matter how many times she got in trouble, she refused to slow down. She had 2 little boys, 5 and 8 years old, who deserved better. We warned her countless times to be careful, especially about drinking and driving. But she never listened. One night, she got blackout drunk, got behind the wheel, and drove off a cliff. I still remember the call. The words didn't make sense at first. ICU. Critical condition. Coma. Weeks later, she came out of the coma, but the woman who woke up was not the sister I knew. She had suffered severe brain damage. The doctors called it a miracle that she survived at all. But cognitively, she was like a small child trapped in an adult's body. She couldn't cook, couldn't manage her hygiene, couldn't remember conversations from one day to the next. She was partially paralyzed on one side. She cried over the smallest things and had meltdowns if her routine was disrupted. And through it all, her sons were left in limbo, confused, grieving, terrified. Their father had passed away 2 years before. Now, they had essentially lost their mother, too. My parents are older and not in good health. The weight of caregiving fell to me. I quit my job. I moved back to my small hometown. I left everything behind. Now, I spend my days caring for my sister and raising her boys. And here's the part that makes me feel like the worst person alive. I hate her. I love her. I really do. But I hate her too. Every time I look at her, I think about the choice she made that night. How selfish she was to get behind the wheel, knowing she had kids who needed her. She smiles at me now, her damaged mind oblivious to what she has done. Sometimes she says things like, "I'm so lucky I survived." When she says that, I want to scream. Because the truth is, I wish she hadn't. I know that is an awful thing to think. But it is the truth. If she had died, my parents would have grieved, yes. But we would have been able to move forward. The boys would have had closure. I could have built a new life for them and for me. Instead, we are trapped in this endless limbo. My parents are burning through their retirement savings to pay for her care. The boys cry for the mother they used to know. And me? I wake up every day suffocating under the weight of this life I never chose. I try to be a good sister. I smile. I cook her favorite meals. I read her the same books over and over because she forgets them. But at night, when the house is quiet, the hate rises up like bile in my throat. I will never have the life I wanted. I will never be free. And the worst part is, no one in my family knows how I feel. To them, I'm the devoted daughter and sister, the selfless aunt. If they knew the truth, they would be horrified. But I can't keep this inside anymore. Last week, something happened that broke me. I was helping my sister get ready for bed. Out of nowhere, she grabbed my hand and started crying. She said, "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." I remember the crush. I was so scared. I wished I would just die. I froze. She never talks about the accident. No one knows how much she remembers. But in that moment, I saw a flicker of the sister I used to know. The sister who would have hated what she has become. I wanted to tell her everything then. My anger. My resentment. My exhaustion. But I couldn't. I just held her while she cried. Now, I can't stop thinking about it. Am I the asshole for hating her? For wishing she had died, even though I'm trying to take care of her the best I can? I don't know anymore. I feel trapped, guilty, and broken. Maybe I'm the real monster in this story. Am I the asshole for letting my sister-in-law think she could have my baby? I still can't believe this happened. I feel like I'm living in a bad soap opera. I'm 36, married, and recently had my third child, a beautiful baby girl. My husband and I have a 10-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old son, and now our little one, who is just 3 months old. My sister-in-law, Rachel, has always been complicated. She's my husband's younger sister. For years, she resented me. She never said it outright, but you could feel it, little comments about how easy I had it, or how I was so lucky to have a family and stability. Last year, Rachel married her longtime girlfriend. They desperately wanted a child, but were told they couldn't conceive naturally. This devastated her. Our entire family rallied around her, trying to support her through it. I truly did feel for her, until the family dinner from hell. It was a simple Sunday dinner at our house. Everyone was there, laughing, eating, trying to enjoy a rare day together. In the middle of the meal, completely out of nowhere, Rachel looked at me and said, "I think it's really unfair that you have 3 children when I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child. So I think you should let me take her during the week. You can have her on weekends." She said it so casually, like she was asking to borrow a dress. At first, I thought she was joking. The table fell silent. Then she started going on about how it would be good for her mental health and only fair. Before I could respond, there was shouting. My husband and Rachel's wife were both trying to talk her down. I took my older kids upstairs because they were starting to cry. When I came back down, I told Rachel and her wife to leave. But before they left, I quietly turned on my phone's voice recorder and slipped it into my pocket. Something about Rachel's tone terrified me. Sure enough, as they were getting their coats, Rachel said to her wife, "She'll see. One way or another, I'm getting that baby." I had it all recorded. The next morning, I went straight to a lawyer. Based on the recording and her increasingly unstable behavior, I was able to get a restraining order. We also installed a full security system at our home. Now, some family members think I overreacted. But I have 3 kids to protect. Was I wrong to record her? To take it this far? Part of me wonders. But most of me is terrified of what could have happened if I hadn't. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for demoting my boss with a suit? I usually try to avoid drama at work. But sometimes, people just push you too far. I work for a small company where the culture is pretty relaxed. Most people come in wearing jeans and hoodies. It's an environment that values work over appearances, which is part of why I liked it, until we got a new manager, whom I'll call Josh. Josh is the kind of boss who micromanages every little thing. He critiques how I write emails, how I talk on the phone, even how I place my coffee mug on my desk. I tried to handle it professionally. Whenever he criticized me, I'd calmly ask, "What were your expectations? What should I have done differently?" But his answers were always vague. Just do better. Things came to a head one Monday morning. I walked into work wearing my usual attire, a button-down shirt, chinos, and loafers. Definitely well within the company dress code. But Josh stopped me in the hallway and said, "You really should start dressing better." I asked him what exactly that meant. Did he want me in a full suit? Business casual? Again, no clear answer. Just a smug, "You figure it out." I went to HR to clarify our actual dress code. They told me my current attire was perfectly acceptable and that no one had ever raised an issue about it. That was when something in me snapped. I was tired of the constant nitpicking, the vague criticisms, the power plays. I decided that if Josh wanted me to dress better, I would take that request to the extreme. The next day, I showed up to work in a full 3-piece business suit. Tailored jacket, vest, tie, polished shoes, the whole package. I looked like I was headed to a board meeting, not a small office with an open floor plan. The reaction was instant. People stared. A few coworkers asked if I had a job interview or a big meeting. I just smiled and said, "Josh asked me to dress better." Josh was clearly flustered. He pulled me aside and told me I was making him look bad by overdoing it. I reminded him that I was following his request, and that HR had said I wasn't violating any rules. The whole situation caught the attention of our upper management. Apparently, I wasn't the first person Josh had been targeting. Several employees had gone to HR about him, but nothing had stuck until now. My stunt sparked an internal review. During the process, other employees came forward with similar stories of vague, unmeasurable criticisms and constant harassment. HR finally had enough documented evidence to take action. 2 weeks later, Josh was quietly demoted to a role with no direct reports. He still works at the company, but he no longer has any authority over me or anyone else. Now, some coworkers think I was petty for showing up in that suit, but others have thanked me for standing up to him. So here I am wondering, was I the asshole for using a little passive-aggressive flair to expose a toxic boss? I honestly don't think so, but I'll let you decide. Am I the asshole for confessing I regret having kids? I love my children more than life itself. I would do anything for them, but if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have had them. That's the truth I admitted out loud during a marriage counseling session last month. My husband and I, both 42, have 3 children, a 6-year-old and 4-year-old twins. Our marriage has been struggling since the twins were born. The stress of raising 3 young kids, one of whom has severe behavioral issues, has worn us both down. The therapist asked me, gently, if you could go back in time, would you choose this life again? I hesitated, then said no. I didn't sugarcoat it. I said I loved my children, but if I had known what this life would truly be like, I would have chosen differently. I thought the conversation would stay between us and the therapist. But later that night, I heard our 6-year-old son crying in the hallway. He had overheard everything. I felt like the worst person in the world. I pulled him into my arms, ready to apologize, but he surprised me. Through tears, he whispered, "It's okay, Mom. I know it's really hard, but I'm glad I'm here." I broke down completely. Since then, my husband has barely spoken to me. He says he's disgusted that I could feel this way, even if I never meant for the kids to hear it. My in-laws found out somehow, and now they're treating me like I'm a monster. I'm haunted by guilt. I never wanted my son to hear those words. But the truth is, my regret isn't about them. It's about losing myself, about a life that feels like it no longer belongs to me. I'm terrified that one honest moment has ruined my relationship with my children forever. Am I the asshole for saying it? For feeling it in the first place? I don't know. All I know is I will keep loving my kids with everything I have. I just wish that had been enough. Am I the asshole for telling the truth about prison? 3 months ago, I walked out of a women's prison after serving a 3-year sentence. It was the hardest, loneliest, and most dehumanizing experience of my life. And now, I'm being threatened for simply telling the truth about it. Let me back up. I'm 40, never married, no kids. I was arrested for assaulting a police officer, though the circumstances were complex and I had no prior record. I'm not here to argue my case. I served my time. When I got out, I felt completely lost. I had no job, no apartment, no plan. The one thing I did have was a phone. I started posting online, anonymously, about my experience. At first, it was just a vent. I wrote about the food, which was barely edible. I wrote about the guards who abused their power and the so-called rehabilitation programs that were nothing more than brainwashing. I wrote about the constant fear, the violence, the way the prison tried to cover up sexual misconduct and health violations. I never named names. I never revealed the exact prison. But my posts started gaining traction. People wanted to know what prison life was really like, not the sanitized version you see on TV. A few of my posts went viral. I gained a large following. Journalists started reaching out, asking if I'd be willing to speak on the record. I declined. I wanted to protect myself. But my posts kept spreading. Then, last week, I got an official letter from the State Corrections Department. It accused me of violating confidentiality agreements and damaging the reputation of the prison system. They threatened legal action if I didn't remove my posts and cease discussing my time inside. Here's the kicker. I had never signed any kind of non-disclosure agreement. Prisoners aren't asked to. They're just hoping you'll be too scared to speak out. When I spoke to a lawyer, she told me they didn't have much of a legal leg to stand on, but they could make my life very difficult if they chose to pursue it. Harassment, surveillance, even trying to sabotage job opportunities. Now I'm torn. On one hand, I've seen firsthand how corrupt the system is. How many women are suffering in silence? I feel like I have to keep telling the truth. On the other hand, I'm trying to rebuild my life. I want a job, a home, a chance to move forward. I've already been denied 2 apartment applications after what I can only assume were background checks, or perhaps worse, someone tipping off the landlords about my posts. I'm exhausted. But the part that hurts the most is how alone I feel. When I was posting anonymously, thousands of strangers supported me. But now that the prison is threatening me, even some of my friends have backed away. They're scared. I get it. My family, who barely spoke to me while I was inside, now tells me I should just delete everything and stop causing trouble. But how can I? I watched women be beaten and locked in solitary for weeks without cause. I watched a fellow inmate die of untreated sepsis while the guards left. I saw pregnant women shackled during labor. And now I'm the villain for saying it out loud. I never claimed to be perfect. I served my time, but I refuse to pretend that what I saw didn't happen. Now, some people say I'm being selfish, that I'm putting my own safety and future at risk for some crusade that won't change anything. That maybe I am making it harder to get a job or housing. But I also get messages every day from former inmates saying, "Thank you. You're telling the truth." So here I am. If I stop, I'll feel like a coward. If I keep going, I might sabotage the fragile life I'm trying to build. Am I the asshole for choosing to speak out? For refusing to be silent about a place that nearly broke me? I honestly don't know anymore. All I know is this: the system counts on our silence. And maybe that's the best reason of all to keep speaking.
Thanks for watching today's stories. If you enjoyed them, don't forget to subscribe to Her Name Was Revenge for more. And tell us in the comments, are these authors the assholes or not? We'd love to hear what you think.